Hey everyone, Tristan back with another video, and in this video I wanted to do a bit of a long-term review of the Chord Hugo 2. Ever since I posted my review video maybe a year and a half ago or so, I've gotten a lot of questions about the Chord Hugo 2, whether I still like it and all that kind of stuff. Refer to my review video originally, the original one up here on the top right. I'll post a link to it. I'm not going to totally review this because I've covered that already, but I did want to do a long-term review of it and also kind of dispel any impressions that I might have left in my original review of the Chord Hugo 2 that maybe I didn't like it or something like that, and that's not the case at all. I still stand behind what I said in that review video, that the Chord Hugo 2 is simply, if you can only have one device, that you want it to be sort of transportable in that it can be portable as well as desktop. It's really the best device that you can get. I mean, if I can only choose one Chord device, it would definitely be the Hugo 2 by a long shot. You know, that being said, it's certainly not as portable as something like the Mojo, and also it doesn't come near where my current desktop Chord setup comes in terms of audio quality, which is currently the Chord Hugo TT2 along with the M scaler. But I do find myself turning to the Hugo 2 quite often when I want to listen away from my main desktop rig, and I'm certainly using the Mojo less often. And in fact, with this case, now this is the official premium leather case that you can get at Chord dealers. With this leather case, it makes it a lot nicer to take with me, the Hugo 2, because without the case, it tends to be a little bit sharp around the edges and stuff like that. It's not real rounded, you know, the aluminum case of the Hugo 2. So the leather case makes it really nice, and as you can see here, it's made by a company called Van Nuys. So it's very high quality leather case, as you can see, and it looks really cool. And it just makes it a lot better to handle and take with you portably. So I find that with this, if I want an audiophile experience, I can just bring this with me to travel, and it's not that much bigger than like the Mojo, although it doesn't, you know, fit in your jeans pocket or something like that. It can still fit in a bag, you know, a messenger bag or backpack or something like that. And I have a much better listening experience than I do with the Mojo. I mean, the audio improvement, the audio quality improvement of the Hugo 2 over the Mojo is nothing short of amazing. I mean, it's really a drastic, huge improvement. Now, the Chord Mojo does tend to have a little bit of a darker sound signature, more closed-in sound stage also. And in some ways, some may prefer that sort of sound signature over the Hugo 2. But once you really get into it and start listening long term, you realize that the Hugo 2 has a lot more resolution and a lot more details. So, you know, stepping down to the Mojo from the Hugo 2, you are definitely missing out on a lot of those details. So, yeah, I'm still quite enamored with the Hugo 2 and really like it a lot. As I said, if I can only pick one device and I want something to be transportable as well as something that I could use on the desktop, it would definitely be the Hugo 2. I've been very happy with it. The other thing is that it kind of matches the sound signature of my Hugo TT2, my desktop unit, pretty well, in that it has very similar crossfeed feature, as well as very similar filter feature as well. So I kind of set the filter and the crossfeed to the same that I have on the desktop on the TT2, and in some ways replicate the sound a bit in the Hugo 2. So I can't really do that on the Mojo because the Mojo doesn't have the crossfeed or the filter features. So that's another thing. As you just saw here, the Hugo 2 just automatically turned off because it turns off after a period of inactivity when nothing's playing and you don't touch it. But I'll go ahead and turn it back on here just so you can look at the pretty LEDs. And then also, this is on bright. You can also turn these LEDs to be dimmer too. So let me go ahead and do that after it boots up here, and I'll show you how to do that. So the way that you do that is you just press the crossfeed button and the filter button together at the same time. You just go like this, and then all of a sudden they got dimmer. Now it's a pretty bright, I've got bright lights on here, so you can't almost see the lights, but they are still illuminated. If I move it around here, you can kind of see that. And at night, when it's really dark, it's nice to have it on dim mode because they're not so bright. Here, let me turn off the lights and you can maybe see it better. Yeah, there we go. So with the lights off in the room, you can kind of see the dim mode better. And again, at night, it makes it a lot nicer than having it so bright, because when you turn on the bright mode, it's really quite almost garish, really very bright. at night. But in the daytime, having the bright on looks pretty cool. So let me turn the lights back on here. Now, Chord Electronics recently introduced the 2Go unit, and what that is, it's a unit that attaches onto the end of the Hugo 2. And basically what that does is it replaces your wires. It replaces this. So normally when I want to plug into the Hugo 2 to listen to it, I will attach this into the USB input, this micro USB cable, and then that goes into here, which is the Apple Lightning, to USB adapter, and then this goes into my iPhone, and then I can stream, from my iPhone, playing either Qobuz using the Qobuz app or Tidal, or even Roon, if I'm near my home. Or even just playing the files that I have stored on my iPhone, the music files that I have locally stored on there. And that works quite well. But the 2Go unit actually replaces any wires. So it basically replaces all this and just makes it wireless. Now the 2Go unit, you'll be able to still run Qobuz and all that, and Tidal, and all your music files locally and stuff like that, as well as Roon. But you'll just have no wires, so you'll just have the 2Go unit attached here on the end. It makes this bigger and a little bit heavier, and it just kind of replaces the wires. Now, why do I mention that, or why might that be important? Well, because future versions of the iPhone may not actually have a lightning jack or any headphone jack or anything like that at all. I don't know for sure, but they're saying that in the future, probably not right away, but in the future, the iPhone won't even have any jacks. It'll just be wireless charging only, and you won't even have something like this that you can plug into. So something like that is going to become more in need. Something like the 2Go is going to, or like for instance on the Mojo, the Chord Poly, something like those wireless devices are going to become, I think, more in demand and more need as time goes on, as smartphones and certain devices go to wireless only devices and have like literally no jacks at all. So I don't know when we're going to see that, or if we're going to see that anytime soon, but that I can see is one reason to get the 2Go unit. Now I'm kind of holding off right now on the 2Go unit because it is $1,300, and all it does for me is replace these wires. But I don't mind using these wires. When I want an audiophile experience, when I want to use the Hugo 2, I'll just plug in and use the wires, and the Hugo 2 can just sit there on the table. And I've got a, I don't know, I think this is like a 1.2 meter USB micro to USB cable. And my iPhone will be plugged into here, and I still have plenty of room to use the iPhone and manipulate it and stuff. So it's not that big a deal. I don't mind wires. But from everything I've heard about the Chord 2Go unit, it does provide a really good sound quality, and it's completely wireless. So that might be something that is nice to get if you have the money. And I might still get that at some point in the future. So anyway, let me know what you think about this case for the Hugo 2, and if you have experience with any of the Chord products, especially the Chord Hugo 2, let me know. But this has just been my sort of long-term impressions of it. It's still really a great device. It sounds excellent and provides desktop class performance in something that's, I would say, pretty portable. As you can see here, I'm holding it in my hand. Definitely worth the money, and certainly an upgrade over the smaller and cheaper Chord Mojo, and does compare fairly favorably to something like the Chord Hugo TT. Certainly doesn't really compare to the Chord Hugo TT2, because there are definitely more taps in the Chord Hugo TT2, and then especially with the M scaler as well. That's just on a whole nother level. But the nearest Chord competitor to the Hugo 2 would be the Q-Test DAC. So it's actually pretty much the same DAC inside, the same number of taps and everything. The only difference between the Hugo 2 and the Q-Test is the Q-Test doesn't have a headphone amplifier and is not portable. So the Q-Test is made just for desktop purposes, and with that one you will need a But it is, but from everything that I've heard, and I haven't actually heard the Q-Test myself, it sounds almost identical to the Chord Hugo 2. But if I was going to get something like that, I would probably look more towards this, the Hugo 2, because you do have the option of using it both as a desktop DAC and headphone amplifier and preamp, as well as taking it with you if you want to. So you have a lot more functionality with the Hugo 2. In addition, you've got the more outputs here. You've got the headphone outs as well, rather than just the RCA outs, on the Hugo 2. So, you have a lot more flexibility with the Hugo 2 than the Q-Test. But again, the audio quality I hear is about the same with both of them. Questions, comments, or feedback, please feel free to leave them. And this has just been my sort of long-term review video of the Chord Hugo 2. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you thought it was cool. If you thought it sucked, give it a thumbs down. And I will be hanging out in the comments field, so I will see you there if you leave a comment. See you in my next video.